Did you send Jules the link?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, everything is good. We're live on YouTube. Mr. Mayor, the meeting is yours.
We're going to give Commissioner Olsman just a minute here to sign on. He's
Okay,
trying to sign on right now.
all right.
Okay, we'll get started, and Mayor Pro Tem Olsman should be joining us momentarily. Start by calling the regular City Commission meeting of February 2nd, 2021 to order. And I would ask all of you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Pledge
to
allegiance to the flag
the United
of the
States,
United States of America,
to the republic,
to the republic for which it stands,
one
One
nation,
one nation,
Under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
for all.
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem Olsman
Present.
in Huntington Woods.
President Huntington Woods.
Very good.
Maybe not in mind, but in body. Maybe not in mind, but in body.
Commissioner Rozelle.
Present, also in Huntington Woods.
Commissioner Elder.
Present in Huntington Woods.
Commissioner Jenks.
Present in Huntington Woods.
Mayor Paul, present in Huntington Woods. Approval of the agenda is our next item. We have a change to the agenda. We're going to delete item number 5, postpone that to the next meeting. With that, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move we approve the agenda as amended.
I'm sorry, don't you want to take off the 2 proclamations?
Oh, yes, you are correct.
And you're postponing the appointments, is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
And we're also deleting the 3rd and 4th proclamation this evening. We'll also reschedule those for the next meeting. So is that Commissioner Rozelle, is that okay with your motion?
That's fine.
And the second, Mayor Pro Tem Olsman, is that acceptable?
It is.
Okay. Roll call vote, Mayor Pro Tem Olsman,
Aye.
Commissioner Jenks,
Aye.
Commissioner Elder.
Aye.
Commissioner Rozelle,
Aye.
Mayor Paul, aye. Motion carries. We have an
Mayor, you can do these without a roll call vote.
I can.
Yeah, through March 31st.
Okay.
I keep forgetting to tell you that.
Thank you.
I want to make your life easier tonight.
That makes
though.
it much easier.
Yes.
Approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, we need to move items 1 and 2 from consent, and I would propose we make them item 1A so they can be discussed.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Any public comment? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
I'd like to make a
Aye.
public comment.
Okay.
May I begin?
Something just happened. Who's speaking?
Please identify yourself.
This is Zach Whitus. I was taking the opportunity to make a public comment.
We're not to the public comment section
Public
yet.
participation is coming up yet, so we'll call on you at that point.
All right, thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to communications, we do have one communication that requires us to accept a resignation from Corey Starr for the Arts and Garden Board. Do we have a motion to accept and thank him for his service?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any public comment? Any commission comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is our county commissioner and elected official reports. I know we have our new state rep, Regina Weiss, with us. Regina, do you have any updates for us?
Yes, hello everyone. Good evening. It's great to be here with you. I am the new state rep for the 27th district. I know you guys later in the agenda will be doing some recognition for our former state rep, Robert Wittenberg. And for those of you who don't know, the 27th district includes 7 communities, including the community of Huntington Woods, as well as Berkeley, Oak Park, Pleasant Ridge, Royal Oak Township, Ferndale, and Hazel Park. Just a quick background about me for those of you who don't know me. I come in with some local government experience myself. I served on Oak Park City Council up until my appointment to the legislature. And I also come in with a lot of education experience. I was a teacher in the Detroit Public School District, taught high school English and social studies up until about mid-December. And so coming right out of virtual teaching environment. So I'm very familiar with this Zoom world. I just wanted to give a few quick updates for you and answer any questions if you may have them. I am very excited to be serving on the Appropriations Committee for the House. And specifically, I'm on the subcommittees under appropriation for licensing and regulatory affairs / insurance and financial services, as well as environment, Great Lakes, and energy. And I am the minority vice chair for school aid, which is I'm very excited about in particular, coming in with education experience. And also we have this term, we have 2 representatives from Oakland County from the Dem caucus side who are serving on appropriations. We didn't have anyone last cycle, so that's great news for us because we'll have that representation on appropriations. I also just wanted to let you know that there is a lot happening right now in the appropriations world because there is some supplemental funding coming in from federal funding that needs to be appropriated out to get back into the local communities for things like rent relief, small business support, school funding, and other critical programs, vaccination rollout and increasing, which I know Commissioner Cavell is going to talk about how vaccination rollout's going right now through the county level. And we will be taking up a few bills that were proposed tomorrow during our appropriations committee meeting. And I just want to let everyone know that I am going to be advocating for and offering amendments to ensure that we are releasing the full amount of that federal relief. Currently, the current plan only allocates about 1/4 of it that we actually qualify for from the federal government. I think we need that relief now, and so I'm going to be advocating for that so that we can get that support that we need back into our communities immediately. I also just want everyone to know that I am available if anyone has any questions, has any issues. I know several folks have reached out around different various issues, particularly around unemployment. You can always reach out to our office. We'd be happy to help. The best way to reach me, there's 3 ways. You can email me, email our office. It's my full name. So Regina Weiss, ReginaWeiss @house.mi.gov. You can also call our office at 517-373-0478. And my staff is working remotely, but if you call and leave a message, someone will call you back right away. And then particularly if you're having unemployment issues, you can also go through our website. We have a form on there that you can fill out. That is housedems.com/Regina-Weiss. So those are a few ways to get hold of me. And then the last thing I will say is I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm having a virtual community conversation coming up on Wednesday, February 24th at 5 p.m. via Facebook Live. And that's going to be along with Senator Jeremy Moss. And this is late breaking news. I don't know if it's officially quite yet, but I think we're also going to have Congressman Levin on that as well. So everyone is invited to attend that. And again, if anyone has any questions or needs anything, please reach out to our office. And if anyone has any questions now, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any of the commissioners have a question for our state rep?
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say, Representative, off to a good start, and we appreciate having you in Lansing. One thing I would say is it's rare for the commission to weigh in on different bills that are in Lansing and take a formal position, but later on today's agenda, we will be hopefully taking a position opposing a bill that's over in the Senate. And so I would hope that if that bill ever were to pass out and make its way to the House, that you would oppose that for the reasons that we'll be discussing later on this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. And if you want to take a position regarding the appropriation supplemental, I'd be fine with that too. Or if any of you individually would like to as well, you can reach out to me about that.
Great.
Mr. Mayor.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor
Hi, Regina, nice to see you here tonight. Thank you. Congratulations. And I concur you're off to a good start. And this is a question for you and for our county commissioner, for Charlie Clavell. There has been some discussion about local communities being able to take control, if you will, over administration of the vaccine to their own residents. I know it's come up a couple times in different conversations. I mean, do you see that ultimately going that way? Is that realistic? It just seems like it would be a natural thing if we were able to, say, at the rec center, set up a facility and take care of it right here. So I'll ask the question of Regina, but Charlie, when you speak to us, you can address it. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just say, and Charlie can add to this too, I mean, the biggest issue we have with that right now is that we just don't have enough vaccine to go around, quite honestly. The county itself is only getting, I believe, around 3,000 doses a week. And Charlie, you can update if that's changed or not. Obviously, that's not enough. That's not nearly enough. And so, again, part of the supplemental that we're looking at tomorrow deals with increased funding for speeding up vaccine distribution. Our proposal that not to get too political on you, but the proposal that the Democratic caucus is putting forward calls for the full release of that funding and to really ramp up that distribution so that we can do that. And I know that was a huge success and has been a huge success for testing. We saw partnerships with local municipalities around drive-up testing and things like that in rec centers and such. But right now, I would say there's just not enough vaccine to be able to do that currently.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Representative Weiss. Congratulations, Representative. Thank you for coming tonight. My question is also for you and for Commissioner Cavell. Charlie, you and I have talked briefly about this as well as related to the COVID vaccine. I obviously am not in the group that is able to get the vaccine right now. However, I have been trying to get my parents in. They are seniors over 70. It has been extremely difficult to get appointments, to be able to get them. I got my mother in, but my father is not able to get in. They're signed up in 4 different systems. It's technology reliant to be able to sign up. And yes, you can call certain places, but you kind of have to know when, and when it's you're able to get through, maybe. I bring this up because I am concerned about the senior population as well as other disadvantaged communities and those populations that may not have technology or may not be comfortable with technology. Has the state and the county thought about how to reach that population? And I agree with Commissioner Olsman. It would be great if the local communities can help and be partners in that distribution. I'm thinking about the seniors, especially, who may not be on their mobile devices or on computers all the time, to be able to do more of a community outreach, to do a drive up where you don't need an appointment. I know that's, it's a supply issue right now, but are you guys thinking about those things and getting, removing the barriers, I guess, the technology barriers in particular for these populations that need it the most?
Yeah, I would just say really quick, and I know Charlie can speak to this as well. I do think that that's totally necessary. And I'm hopeful that as we get increased distribution, that we'll be able to do more local partnerships. And I also know, and again, Charlie can speak to this better than me, but I know that the nurse on call, Oakland County Nurse on Call, can help with making appointments if folks are having a hard time with the online system. Charlie, did you want to add on to that, or do you want to just wait till it's your turn? If no one else has any questions, Charlie can
go. Regina, congratulations. I think you walked into a harder job. My concern is it doesn't seem when they distribute or divide up the vaccine that's available in the state that Oakland County gets a fair share based on population, elderly, poverty, etc. Can that be changed?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I will be advocating for that. It's not just Oakland County. There are several counties that have gotten kind of shortchanged in this process. I will continue. I will advocate for it. Unfortunately, there's not too much control I have on my end, but I'm hoping that part of the ramp up process can be also making sure that we're distributing these vaccines in a way that's equitable, based on population and based on these vulnerable groups that live within counties, as opposed to just, each county gets whatever amount they get. Just seems like the way it's currently functioning.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Regina. If you do hear of anything, if you could keep us updated on the vaccine front, that would be great. Charlie's doing a great job of doing that almost daily for us from the county's perspective. But
yeah,
if you have updates from the state, we'd love to know.
Absolutely. And like I said, hopefully we'll have something coming through the House this week. And I'll give you an update and let you know what happens with that.
All right. Thank you very much. Now we have our County Commissioner, Charlie Cavell, with us.
Hey, I got my new pin on because I saw your pin, Mayor, and I saw Regina shining. So I went, oh yeah, they give you these when you get elected to stuff, so I should put it on. So I'd love to answer all the COVID questions, and if I could just respond first to what Regina was saying. I think the difference between what Regina has to deal with in Lansing and what we have to deal with in Pontiac is, one, County Commission's a part-time job. for Regina, it's a full-time job. 2, she's got to work with 109 other egos in the House, and I got to make sure that 10 other Democrats like what we're saying. So she's having much tougher conversations than we are. But that being said, just to give a quick background, my day job, I'm a social worker, work at Habitat for Humanity, but also I'm our county commissioner. I serve on the Public Health and Safety Committee. So an update there. In this last month, Oakland County has allocated an additional $10 million to go towards accelerating COVID response here in the county and to make sure that we start equitable distribution of that. And I can talk more about that later. Took notes on what all of you commissioners were commenting on. Second, I serve on the Economic Development Committee. So you will be seeing after the February 4th County Commission full board meeting, a $3 million restaurant relief package coming from OakGov to local communities. So if you are a Huntington Woods resident who owns a restaurant, you should talk to your local, as we call them in the biz, CVT, City, Village, Township, or DDA, wherever your business is located, so that you can then get on the list to then apply for restaurant relief. That's a county program. I'm the vice chair of the Finance Committee. So one big thing that came through that in this past month was green audit. So we're going to figure out our gaps in sustainability over the next 6 or 9 months. And then that will hopefully lead to us becoming a more eco-friendly county government. But to get to the real nitty-gritty about COVID stuff, one other thing I wanted to make sure I noted. I had a conversation with our deputy county executive, the number 2, and began talking about Rackham. So we'll see if there's any more things we can talk about Rackham and Oakland County. So to Commissioner Olsman, I think it was, you were talking about how could, say, for example, Huntington Woods use the rec center and be a distribution site and have local control over that?
Yes.
Is that right? So one thing I'll say as an example, because I've talked to other folks about this at the county, using Meijer as an example. So Oakland County government just entered into a deal with Meijer to help distribute vaccine. So in previous months, previous weeks, Oakland County got 1,950 doses of vaccine. Now this is all through the government track. There's still private systems, Beaumont, Ascension, St. John's, McLaren, Henry Ford. That is not OakGov what I'm saying, but OakGov gets 1,950 doses week after week. Then 2 weeks ago, we got 8,000 doses, and this week we got 11,300 doses. So because we're able to do that ramp up, we're able to then start enacting this partnership with Meijer to be able to use those 11,000 doses that OakGov is getting to not just be distributed at our 5 vaccination sites, but then to also distribute vaccine to Meijer to distribute OakGov vaccine. So that's what would have to happen for Huntington Woods to be able to be one of those sites. Now, that's not to say it can't happen. It's just to say that then point 2 here is that, I mean, these people are building the plane as they fly it. I mean, it is drinking water through a fire hose. I talk to the health director like 3 times a week, and it's always after 8 p.m. because she's still at the office figuring out whatever fire they got to put out for the next day. Saying that all to say, they are very open to any good ideas and they want to hear everything out. So if anyone listening has anything that they think would add to the conversation in a constructive way of how to thread the needle on making sure more people equitably and quickly get vaccine, they're all about it. So I can say at the end my contact info. But Commissioner Olsman, I'm more than happy to bring that up till the end because it may very well just be the people that are, you know, at the 5th floor of the executive office building in Pontiac just are too busy to think about this stuff. So I'll definitely bring that up. Vulnerable populations, so Commissioner Elder, what you were saying. So one, I've talked with the Area Agency on Aging, specifically about homebound people. So I actually was just on a call this evening with them about this. So if anyone in your family is homebound or you yourself are homebound, what will be happening is, like in years past with the flu vaccine, once OakGov receives clarification from the federal government about how to be able to store and refrigerate vaccine, they will follow the protocol that they did to do homebound vaccinations for flu in previous years. So wait a couple weeks and then that should start to come out. That's one thing about older adults, Commissioner Elder and everyone else. Second thing, again, if you have a good idea, please do bring it up and I'll give my contact info at the end. Third, social vulnerability index. So this is something that's recently come out from the CDC that the state of Michigan is starting to enact, and OakGov is going to begin enacting, which is a formula to talk about who is socially vulnerable and then being able to distribute vaccine in that way. So that might also answer Commissioner Jenks, what you were saying about making sure Oakland County gets its fair share. One, the social vulnerability index will hopefully then mean that we'll get more money to then do more about vaccine and relief because we are bigger and because we have more vulnerable people here compared with a lot of other places in the state. But then two, Oakland County government has been for weeks calling, texting, emailing, shouting from the rooftops, getting in front of news cameras to say, we want more vaccine, because Oakland County government at this point in time can distribute 20,000 vaccines a week. And we just had our biggest week ever, where on Sunday we got 11,300 doses for the week. So we are by no means close to our capacity from OakGov. They're also private systems. So just a quick run of numbers. Over 110,000 people have received shots of COVID vaccine. Mind you, that's not second doses also, but over 100,000 people have received doses of vaccine in Oakland County. 22,000 have come from OakGov. The other 80 or 90,000 have come from private systems like Beaumont, CVS, Walgreens, Myers, this sort of thing. And then again, OakGov can distribute and administer 20,000 shots a week at our current capacity, and that keeps growing just because we keep staffing up and training up and being able to, we just gave the nurses a raise, so we're able to do more. But we just got 11,000 this week, which is our biggest number yet. So like you all are adding up, this is a supply issue, but it is becoming less of an issue every week. So we're getting closer to being at full capacity. I guess I'll just finish by saying, if you want to talk more about any ideas, constructive criticism you want to offer to how to be able to help the county be able to do this better, please reach out 248-807-4347. That's my cell. Call or text anytime. The county even put it back here so that I don't forget it. 248-807-4347. Call, text, whatever. Any other questions from commissioners or anyone else?
Any questions from the commission?
Oh, thanks, Charlie.
All right, thank you very much, Charlie. Thanks for the updates that you've been giving us as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you're reading them. Thanks.
Very effective. Thank you.
Okay, now moving on to public participation. This is an opportunity for the public to make a comment for an item that is not on the agenda. Turn this back to Rob.
If there are any members of the public that would like to address the commission, press *9 on your phone to raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that you raise your hand. Press *9 on your phone to address the commission during public comment. We'll give it a moment here. I remember phone caller 6655 raised their, or wanted to speak earlier. Okay, here we go. Phone caller 6655, last four digits of your phone number. Press *6 to unmute yourself and address the commission.
Hi there. My name is Zach Whitus. I'm the coordinator of Huntington Woods for Black Lives. This past spring, the police in Minneapolis and Louisville murdered George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Their deaths at the hands of police sparked a nationwide international uprising against police and white supremacy. Here in Huntington Woods, we were inspired, along with the rest of the nation, to take collective anti-racist action. A group of young progressive women from the city organized the BLM Solidarity March that attracted over 700 residents. Speaking at the beginning of the rally, organizer Hannah Fahom bravely declared that racism happens here in Huntington Woods. At this moment, Huntington Woods for Black Lives was born, the organization of which I am the coordinator. Indeed, we know that this city and the surrounding cities have a disturbing history of white supremacy. The KKK was active here. Racial housing covenants, which can still be found in the deeds to many of our properties, are a relic of this vicious past. The legacy of racial redlining can be witnessed in what historian Jason Cowley calls the bright line, dividing whites from blacks in our area. for example, Greenfield Road and 8 Mile Road. This legacy can also be witnessed in the great wealth that whites in Metro Detroit have been able to build by their homes over the past 80 years, aided by federally backed loans, compared to the relative low wealth of Black Americans, who were systematically denied this all-American opportunity. Racism in our corner of Metro Detroit is not merely a historical phenomenon. To honor the BLM movement, we must confront racism as it manifests in the present. Recently obtained demographic data on traffic warnings and citations from the Huntington Woods Department of Public Safety reveals a pattern of racially disparate impact and discrimination in Huntington Woods policing. According to the department's own data, over the past 3 years, Black people have received between 37 and 40% of all traffic tickets and warnings, despite constituting just 1% of the population of Huntington Woods and 22% of the population within a 42-mile radius. That's the average commuting distance in the state of Michigan. White people, for their part, receive between 58 and 61% of the tickets and warnings from Huntington Woods Police, despite constituting 95% of the population of Huntington Woods and 75% of the population of Oakland County. This data illustrates that Huntington Woods policing is having a racially disparate impact. Indeed, we cannot avoid the obvious implication. Huntington Woods policing racially discriminates against Black people. Instead of sending a message that this is a welcoming community to all, it sends the opposite message. Black drivers, beware. This is not who we are. We can and must do better. Huntington Woods for Black Lives is calling on the Huntington Woods City Commission, the mayor, and the Department of Public Safety to issue a public apology to the Metro Detroit Black community, asking for their forgiveness. We also call on the city to fulfill its promise from the anti-racism plan to provide total transparency on Huntington Woods policing, publishing on the city website all records of the Huntington Woods police interaction with the public. This city believes in racial justice. We must hold ourselves accountable for our past racist practices. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Are there any other public comments?
Phone caller 1375, last 4 digits of your phone number 1375. Press *6 to unmute yourself. And go ahead and address the commission.
Hello, this is Brandon Marr. I am also a member of Huntington Woods for Black Lives, and I wanted to talk about our police department's work with the Oakland County SWAT. In my conversations I've had with both the mayor and Mr. Elder, we often talk about the chance of a possible school shooting happening at any of places close to home, and especially, right here at Burton. As a student that has lived through and is currently still at senior at Berkeley High School, I understand from my own experience that policing is not solving school shootings in this country or reducing them. Policing reacts to school shootings already happening. And so by looking at new ways to support our communities and have real preventative measures put in place, I'm calling upon the City Commission and the Mayor to look into new options in offering these types of services.
All right, thank you for your comments. Any other public comment?
If anybody else would like to address the commission, press *9 on your phone to raise your hand. We have another caller, caller 8849, last 4 digits 8849. Press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello, my name is Emma Draker. I'm a current senior at Berkeley High School and a leader in Huntington Woods for Black Lives. I wish to address the hesitation to demilitarize the Huntington Woods public safety funds due to the threat of school shootings. Before I start, I want to say how grateful I am to go to school in the Berkeley district. It's truly an environment that fosters growth, community, and support. While I've been fortunate enough to never experience an actual school shooting, I have never fully escaped the threat and fear of their existence. There have been a few instances of my school life, particularly when I was in second grade, and then again during my freshman year of high school, in which shelter-in-place lockdowns left a significant impact on me. I remember returning to school the next day feeling a lingering sense of fear for my safety. Growing up in a world where we have to practice hiding under a desk because someone might shoot us in the place we learn is horrifying. It's understandable then to look at the police force as a solution. However, when looking more closely at the underlying causes of school shootings, it becomes clear more proactive and preemptive approaches are actually more beneficial to combating gun violence. First and foremost, common sense gun reform laws in the United States need to be passed, which is an issue for state and federal government to take immediately. But tonight I want to focus on how Huntington Woods can change our approach to public safety. I and the other members of Huntington Woods for Black Lives feel strongly that incorporating better and more approachable mental health and social services will be the best solution to these problems. Increased mental health support could significantly lower the threat of school shootings. In several instances, mental illness led struggling individuals to become school shooters. For example, after the tragic Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in 2018, it was reported the shooter had a history of depression and anger management issues. If he had been able to get help sooner, it could have been prevented the shooting from happening. Let's fund city social workers separate from public safety who can serve the mental health needs of our community. Proactive solutions to preventing school shootings, like hiring more social workers, would actually be more effective than relying on the police. This is because the role of the police is at best to respond to harm after it occurs, not to prevent it from happening in the first place. The police cannot prevent a school shooting. Granted, if the police show up while a school shooting is already underway, they may be able to interrupt and prevent further damage. Ultimately, they will not prevent nearly as much as these mental health professionals would through stopping potential school shooters from getting to that point altogether. With all of this in mind, I urge you to demilitarize the Huntington Woods Police by ending their participation in the Oakland County SWAT, so long as the SWAT continues to receive U.S. military surplus. Furthermore, I ask that the City Commission reallocate a portion of funds away from the public safety budget towards funding more reachable mental health and social services in our city. I love this city and believe this is one very important way we can move forward in our fight for racial and economic justice while still ensuring the prevention of tragic events like school shootings.
Thank you for your comments.
Phone caller 4588 has raised their hand. Phone caller with the last four digits 4588, press *6 to unmute yourself.
Economic justice while still ensuring the prevention of tragic events like school shootings.
This is Gail Linden of Huntington Woods, and
phone caller 4588 has raised their hand.
This is Gail Linden of Huntington
Phone caller with the last four digits 4588, press *6.
This is Gail Linden of Huntington Woods calling regarding a notice that Amy Sullivan sent out.
I'm getting some type of feedback. I'm getting repeated conversation. Somebody's not muted or somebody is getting feedback from the YouTube channel.
Gail, hold on.
Gail,
Gail,
can you
hold on a minute.
Do you have the YouTube video? Can you mute that?
I've walked away from it.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know how to mute that. It didn't seem to give me any button, so I'm in a different room so I can talk.
Okay.
Thank you very much. This is Gail Linden of Huntington Woods calling regarding a Huntington Woods Friday news blast that Amy Sullivan sent out on January 15th regarding recycling. Huntington Woods has led, Oakland County has led the state, and in many cases, even the country in our efforts in recycling. And we've done a great job. And one of the things that Amy mentioned is effective April 1st, no longer will we be able to put cardboard outside of our recycling bins. It's a little hard to break down big television boxes, other kinds of boxes that you get in order to do it. And I really am questioning why we're not doing it any longer. It's a loss of revenue to the city, and it's an inconvenience to the residents. If you can get boxes into your recycling bin, you'll do it. Before, we used to pack them into each other in other boxes, if we can flatten them. To say to cut something down to be a 3x3 size is a burden, in trying to doing recycling. And it's, hard to do getting boxes into the recycling bin. And I'd like to have that readdressed and, tell us why this is happening.
Thanks for your comments, Gail.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to make an unusual motion here. If with respect to public participation, we have a number of people on from, I assume, other areas of the country for one matter, and I think I would move that we hold public participation in abeyance until we can at least get to the part of the agenda where we have all the guests assembled. It's a little unusual. I was like a motion to interrupt public participation. So if we can do that just to accommodate all of our guests.
Yeah, I'd second that, Mr. Mayor. If we could move proclamation number 2 up and move it ahead of the rest, I'm supportive of Commissioner Olsman's motion.
We can certainly do that. We'll come back to public participation after I turn this over to Mayor Pro Tem Olsman to recognize a fellow resident of Huntington Woods, a longtime friend and a servant of the city. So we thank him very much for his time of service, Judge David Gubo. So Mayor Pro Tem Olsman, we have a proclamation that's been prepared. If you could read that for us.
We do. And before we start, so you thought these meetings were boring, huh, Judge Gubo? Anyway, I have a proclamation here honoring our distinguished Judge David M. Gubo. We have many of his family on tonight. I know all of them. I've been a close friend of the Gubo family for almost 50 years now. And so I have take great pleasure in being able to do this tonight. So whereas Judge David M. Gubo has served as a judge in the 45B District Court from 2002 through 2020 with distinction, a fair and even hand, and outstanding judicial temperament, he has capably helped assure the fair administration of justice to the residents of Huntington Woods, Oak Park, Pleasant Ridge, and Royal Oak Township. Whereas Judge Gubo's reputation for the courtesy and respect he has shown to all litigants and attorneys coming before his court is well known throughout our community. Whereas prior to his election to the court in 2002, Judge Gubo served honorably as our state representative from 1984 until 1999. Thereafter, he was selected by his legislative colleagues, I would add on a bipartisan basis, to be the assistant clerk of the Michigan House of Representatives. Whereas Judge Gubo has followed in the footsteps of his father, the late Judge Lawrence Gubo, who served as the United States District Court Judge from 1968 through 1978, following his appointment to that position by President Lyndon Johnson. Judge Gubo previously served as the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. Again, on a personal note, I had the opportunity to know and get to know Judge Lawrence Gubo very well, and he was a very inspiring person, and you can see the fruits of all of that is here before us tonight with the whole Gubo family. Whereas Judge David Gubo has been strongly supported throughout his distinguished career in public service by his wife Dottie, their daughters Rachel and Jackie. And it should be noted, Judge Gubo has and continues to draw inspiration and guidance from his mother, Mrs. Estelle Gubo. See, Mrs. Gubo, I didn't forget you, as well as his sisters, Mona and Janie Gubo. Just a wonderful, wonderful family. Whereas Judge David M. Gubo is a distinguished graduate of the University of Michigan, where he was a member of the varsity hockey team. That prepared him for his work as a district court judge in terms of sharp elbows and things like that. He is also a graduate of the University of Detroit Law School. Whereas the Huntington Woods City Commission hereby expresses its deep appreciation to the Honorable David M. Gubo for his many years of valuable and distinguished service to the city of Huntington Woods and for the contributions he has made as a judge and a legislator. Thank you very much, Judge Gubo. You want to unmute yourself and say anything there, Your Honor?
Well, first, I just want to, Jules, Commissioner Olsman, I don't think I ever said that commission meetings were boring in any way, shape, or form. But to you, Mr. Mayor, and other members of the City Commission, I want to give a heartfelt thank you to you for this very nice and generous proclamation. I have had an opportunity to not only work with this City Commission and City Manager, Amy Sullivan, but going back to what I thought was really Mayor for Life, Ron Gillum. Worked with him in many city commissions over the years, as well as your former city managers in the past. And we always had a great working relationship. And your city attorney, Ms. Rosati, I just want to say to you that working with Chuck Snell at our court has been a real pleasure, and he does a terrific job for the city of Oak Park. And I see Hank Berry's there. We've really worked quite close with Hank and as far as all your code enforcement cases. So a big thank you to everyone at the city. As Commissioner Olsman mentioned, I have been involved in public service for what's over 35 years now. And I really want to thank the people of our community for giving me the opportunity to represent them in Lansing, and congratulations to Regina on her new job. I want you to know, Regina, that the phone number I had back in 1985 is still the same phone number that you have in Lansing today. So the best of everything to you. And also, while I'm congratulating you, congratulations to Commissioner Cavell as well. So I just want to really thank the people of the city for the faith and confidence they've shown in me over all these years to represent them in Lansing and to be a part of the 45th District Court. And then thanks to all of the people at the court, my colleague on the bench for all my years, Judge Apple, thanks to her, and our court administrator, Nancy Waldman, who formerly was the Huntington Woods Recreation Department Director. Thanks to them, as well as our entire staff. Jules, you already introduced my family, but I do want to say that my mom's here, and she and my dad really helped set my moral compass way back when I was a youngster, and they taught me the value of public and community service. And I've really been honored to, as I said, to either represent the community or serve the community for all these years. And not only do I appreciate the kind words that you spoke, Jules, but I know if my dad were here, that he too would have appreciated those. And I know while we appreciate it, my mom believes everything you just said. So, so thank you very much for that. And just a big thank you to everyone for allowing me the opportunity to serve. It's been a great ride. I guess I have miles to go before I sleep. So if we don't plan on moving, we plan on staying right here in the community. And when I say I have miles to go, I'm out walking the streets of Huntington Woods every day. And Commissioner Olsman, I pledge to you that on Wednesdays or Thursdays, if I see any trash can's still
Let
out
us
there, I
know.
will either give you a call or Mr. Barry a call to let them know. Mr. Mayor, thanks to you. I want to just tell everyone at the city to keep up the good work. We appreciate all you do on behalf of the city as well. So much thanks. My wife is just standing next to me. I made a pledge to her when we got married that she wouldn't have to make any speeches on my behalf. I was pretty good on that, except for one time I got stuck in Lansing and she had to make a presentation on my behalf to the Tuskegee Airmen here in Oakland County, but she still doesn't want to appear on camera, but she is here. So thanks again.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
We're probably gonna leave, not that I'm not enjoying all this, but I'll let you guys conduct the rest of your business and.
I thought Rachel and Jackie, I saw their hands reach.
Well, we've got a couple of people you didn't mention. Rachel is holding our grand dog, Rosie. And with Jackie is her fiance, Aaron. And Janie is there with her fiance, significant other, Nick. They're in Colorado. My mom and sister, our other sister, Mona, are there in Florida. Rachel's in New York, and Jackie's here in Oakland County right now.
Wow.
So we got all parts of the country covered, and I think they got over 2 feet of snow there in New York. And I don't think they're quite as efficient as the Huntington Woods Public Works guys in getting the snow removed.
well, thank you all for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much, everybody,
Thank you,
for
Judge.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Okay, moving back to public participation. Rob, was there
anybody-
anyone else that,
There's no hands raised at the moment, but a reminder to the resident phone callers, press *9 on your phone to raise your hand to address the commission. We'll give it a moment to see if anybody raises their hand. Again, a reminder, press *9 on your phone to address the commission. No one else has raised their hand.
okay, with that, public participation is closed. On to one other proclamation that we would like to make this evening. And that is a proclamation of the City of Huntington Woods declaring February 2021 as Black History Month. Whereas during Black History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas Black History Month grew out of the establishment in 1926 of Negro History Week by Carter G. Woodson of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And whereas since 1976, every American president has designated February as Black History Month and endorsed a specific theme. The Black History Month 2021 theme, Black Family, Representation, Identity, and Diversity, explores the African diaspora and spread of Black families across the United States. Whereas the observance of Black History Month calls our attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals. And whereas the City of Huntington Woods continues to work towards becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, past, present, and future, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, the state, the country, and the world. And whereas the Huntington Woods Library is presenting a Black History Month tribute on Tuesday, February 23rd, to celebrate ways that we can continue to honor this month in our own community. Now, therefore, in recognition of African Americans, past and present, in our community, I, Robert Paul, Mayor of the City of Huntington Woods, do hereby proclaim February 2021 as Black History Month. Okay, with that, moving on to our regular items of business. The first item is consideration of approval of a consultant for the master plan update. Amy, do you want to explain that?
Yep. Every 5 years, cities are required to update their master plan, and we put our update out for bid. We received 3 bids. Hank, our zoning administrator, and the chair of the planning commission and I interviewed what we consider the top 2 candidates, and we are recommending that the consultant be MKSK, and that they prepare the master plan update for us, and that the city commission authorize myself to enter an agreement for them to provide that consulting services for that plan.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that.
Seconded.
Is there any public comment? I'll remind you once again, if you have a comment to raise your hand, hit *9.
See if anybody has raised their hand. We'll give it just a moment. Again, press *9 on your phone. No one has raised their hand.
Okay, any comments or questions from the city commission?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a comment as well as a question for Mr. Berry and Ms. Sullivan. Obviously, the master plan is a very important thing for us as we are nearing the end of our redevelopment ready certificate process. When I reviewed the information about this particular consultant, I did like that they have experience, technical experience, proven experience in working with other communities and taking them through that process. The certification was something that I, felt was very important for us to be able to get as a community, to be able to plan for a sustainable redevelopment of certain areas in the city that had been identified in the previous plan for redevelopment. So I do believe they are very qualified, and their familiarity with all of the other public planning process documents, and from the Woodward Corridor to 11 Mile, and their familiarity with small communities like us in the Southeast Michigan region. I think those are all assets. The one thing that I was disappointed in was just, I think it's more of a disappointment for the urban planning field, because there is a lack of diversity, as you know, in the consulting world there can be. And Amy or Hank, if you would mind also sharing and commenting, that was one of my concerns. The one thing I also appreciated about this particular firm is that they have made some concerted efforts, very proactive efforts to try to address diversity, equity, and inclusion in their business practices. And so, Amy, I think it would be very helpful for the rest of the commission to hear about what they've done.
The point person for Huntington Woods will be a planner. His name is Strader. What's his first name?
Brad.
Brad Strader. Sorry, had a mental block there. And his firm is a collection of planners. They recognized that they needed to address diversity and equity, and he is leading the committee that is taking a look at how they can improve upon that within their firm. So he's very familiar with those processes, what needs to be done, how to do it, what lens to look at that through. And so that was one of the reasons that they gave him a kind of a leg up on the other contributors. Plus, they also have a great deal of experience with the Woodward Corridor, and that's something that's going to be important to us as well. So those are a couple of the reasons why we're recommending MKSK for the work.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions from the commission? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All in favor, motion carries. Item number 2 is a matter of consideration of approval of the formation of the Anti-Racism Advisory Committee.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to jump in. We moved the minutes to item 1A.
We did, you're correct. Sorry about that. 1A, bringing back, that we pulled out of the consent agenda were the regular meeting minutes of January 5th and the special meeting minutes. I know that we wanted to add to those minutes that all of the, myself and all the commissioners were during the roll call present and stated that we were present in Huntington Woods, Michigan.
And we received a corrected set of minutes for the special meeting. I'll move that, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Any public comment?
Reminder, press star 9 on your phone if you'd like to address the commission on this subject. Press star 9 to raise your hand. We'll give it just a moment. No one has raised their hand.
All right, hearing none, any comments or questions from the city commission? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now moving on to item number 2, a matter of consideration of the approval of the formation of the Anti-Racism Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Support.
Okay, any public comment?
Again, press star 9 to raise your hand to address the commission. Press star 9 to raise your hand to address the commission. We'll give it just a moment here. No one has raised their hand.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to commissioner comments or questions.
Mr. Mayor, if I may start, first of all, thank you once again to you, Mr. Mayor, and the rest of the commission for the support of this working group that came together over the summer. I think it's really important to, again, remind the community that we really listened to the people of color who live here, who gave us their thoughts, their input. And we know that this anti-racism plan is not perfect. It is a starting point. And it is prioritized based on their voices. And I cannot stress that enough. And for those individuals who were not, understanding of that process, the process is important. And since the adoption in October, the city departments, staff, all of us have gone through training, put out new programs, tried new things. And it is because of the plan, and it is because of the time and effort that this group of residents volunteered over the summer for us. And as we move forward in our commitment to this framework and this learning and understanding, I think it is important that we formalize some feedback, some input in an advisory capacity, because this is hard work. This is not easy. and we're probably going to make mistakes. That was one of the things that this group, said from the get-go. And that's why it's important to have an advisory committee of residents, of taxpayers, of community stakeholders. So that is why I believe that this is a meaningful committee, and it's meant to collaborate with all of the policies and other committees. And you do, I think this is a new committee, so we have to also see what the interest is to roll up sleeves and do the work. So obviously I fully support this committee, and Amy, I think you've also done a great job in rolling out this plan. And I think the other aspect of this group is to also be a sounding board for new ideas. And Commissioner Olsman, you've brought in 2 speakers already, and I really appreciate it. Even though I wasn't live, I did have the opportunity to watch it at a later time. So I think the commission has shown a lot of commitment. I know a lot of us have already, or all of us have been through training this year. And I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm very excited that we are talking about this, formalizing this committee to continue the work tonight. Thank you.
Any other comment? Okay, we have a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Amy, I'm assuming you'll address that in this week's e-blast and start making applications available for anyone who would be interested.
Yeah, I may not be geared up by this Friday, but I'll definitely work on the citizen interest form and get everything in place so that we can start promoting it as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. Item number 3 is a matter of resolution opposing Michigan Senate Bill number 17. This is an item that Commissioner Roselle brought to our attention earlier this week regarding contracts of public servants with public entities. So, Commissioner Roselle, do you want to take the lead on this?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This bill was introduced this session. It passed out of the Senate last session, was never taken up in the House. This started out as a bill for very small communities. The law that existed since 1992 allowed volunteer or paid on call firefighters to serve on their local governing board in these small towns. Over time, the population threshold was increased to 25,000, but it remained folks serving in a volunteer capacity or a paid on call capacity as a firefighter. The bill that was introduced this session is frankly quite disturbing. It now includes a population threshold of 40,000, but it also includes full-time employees, public safety officers, police officers, firefighters, the police chief, and the fire chief would be permitted to serve on the local governing board. Creates 2 problems. One, an issue of supervision, right? So if our city manager oversees the public safety director, but the public safety director is a member of the city commission, then that person also oversees the city manager. That is a big issue, I feel. And then the second issue is the only prohibition in statute is that an individual would not be able to negotiate the contract on behalf of the labor union, but they would be able to participate in negotiations as a member of the governing board and voting on establishing their own pay and benefits. That is completely unethical. It may even be, frankly, illegal in that the Incompatible Public Offices Act specifically, prohibits this type of behavior as a protection for the taxpayers and citizens of a community. I sent a letter in my official capacity as a city commissioner, not speaking for the commission, opposing this. Amy contacted the Michigan Municipal League. They testified against the bill. The senators were very shocked that this could be allowed to happen, but the 4 Republicans in committee voted in favor because the bill was introduced by the Republican committee chair. The lone Democrat on the committee, who happened to be our state senator, Jeremy Moss, voted against the bill. So it will go to the full Senate potentially for consideration. So I'd like us to go on record as opposing this as just bad public policy. And I know we don't do it often, and I know we're not fans of doing it, but I think when things like this rear their head, we need to take a position and let our representatives know that we don't support this at all.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move it, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Okay, any public comment?
Again, press star 9 on your phone to raise your hand to address the commission. Press star 9 to raise your hand. We'll give it just a moment to see if anybody raises their hand. No one has raised their hand.
All right. Any comments or questions from the city commission? Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. Joe, who is driving this? Who's behind this?
State Senator Zorn is behind this. He's from the west side of the state. He's the one that wore the Confederate face mask in our state legislature.
Enough said.
Got it.
Commissioner Jenks, did you have a question?
Yeah. I think one of the unintended consequences of this act could be loss of federal funds, either directly or indirectly, by many departments once you ended up with one of these public safety full-time employees being on the executive side because of the Hatch Act. The other thing is I think this kind of bill destroys checks and balances. The executive and the legislative are not kept separate. It is bad public policy, and it really should be strongly opposed. I did call MML and ask that they take a strong position against it and explain and seek out the question on the Hatch Act and checks and balances. I mean, public safety is dependent upon very often federal funds. It may come through the county, it may come through the state. It usually isn't direct. I was covered by the Hatch Act working in a state agency for 30 plus years, and I could not be involved politically. What it did was, if I did, it could have threatened the money that came into my program as well as into the department. I think that this is a lot more frightening than Joe sees it as.
Okay, and I also note that we're asking if we pass this, that our city manager prepare a resolution and that be sent to Senator Moss as well as Representative Weiss and the Michigan Municipal League. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 is the consideration of setting a public hearing on March 2nd, 2021 for the purpose of the 2021 CBDG program year. Amy, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, our regular meeting in March is March the 16th. However, the application is due March the 5th, CDBG application. So we need to hold a hearing prior to March the 5th, and we had moved our March 2nd meeting to March 16th because that's the night of the Board of Review, and Tim Rowland can't be two places at the same time. However, I believe we can hold a special meeting for the public hearing just for the purposes of taking comments on the CDBG application on the 2nd. Tim doesn't need to be in attendance at that, and then we can get the application finalized and into the county by the 5th. So I'd like to not only set the public hearing for a meeting on March 2nd, but also create a special meeting that night just to consider this one item in order to meet the county deadline for the application.
Do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Seconded.
When are you proposing that we do this?
Tuesday, March 2nd.
All right, that works.
Any public comment? Once again, I'll remind you, if you have a comment, hit *9 to raise your hand.
We'll give it just a moment to see if any of the resident phone callers raise their hand. Again, press *9 if you'd like to address the commission. No one has raised their hand.
All right, any questions or comments from the commission? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, our city manager's report.
I have one update from the Department of Public Works, and that is we're getting an early start on the road construction and water main replacement work. Kingston between Coolidge and the dead end was pulverized yesterday, and we're going to continue to do more work the rest of the week, weather permitting. If you live on Kingston, I'm urging you to contact the Department of Public Works. We do have an e-blast that goes out just to residents on that street about the construction and, you know, how to take your trash out and get that picked up on time and where to park your car, et cetera. So anybody who's not on that list should call the DPW, and then you can receive regular emails with construction updates. And then the last couple of items are about the recreation department. We are there holding a big truck parade on Tuesday, February 16th. That's going to involve our public safety vehicles, our DPW vehicles, and also the big trucks from the city of Berkeley. It's going to start at City Hall at 10 a.m. on Tuesday the 16th, wind its way through the city. And then into Berkeley, and we're encouraging residents to make signs, dress up like superheroes, and of course thank these two departments that are considered our essential workers for that have worked so hard through the pandemic and continue to do so. And then to put that on your calendar, February 16th. And then the last item is, as you know, our current Parks and Recreation Director, Mary Gustafson, is retiring, and there will be a Zoom send-off for her this Friday. And anybody that would like to participate in that and get the Zoom link should call the Recreation Department to access that. And then as soon as Mary retires, Tracy Shamley, the program coordinator, has been promoted, and she will step in and take over as the Parks and Recreation Director. So looking forward to working with her in her new role. And that's all that I have for tonight.
Are there any questions of the city manager?
I just have one. Amy, can you whatever you're going to send out, e-blast or whatever, address Gail Linden's question? Because today I received a text saying SACRA is no longer accepting styrofoam, metal. There just seems to be a lot of confusion right now about recycling, whether there is recycling going on. And I understand her comment was just about the cardboard, but you know, so I just think there's some practical issues for our residents. So does that mean if you fill up your trash, your recycling bin with cardboard, you're done? You can't put any more out? I think that's something we do need to clarify, because if we don't need to clarify it, you know what's going to happen. There'll be boxes of cardboard sitting there. I mean, we need to clarify this. So I don't know the answer, but I'm assuming you do, or you'll find out and let the residents know. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Amy, will the Capitol Conference, which is March 15th to March 17th, have any impact on our commission meeting on March 16th? Will their programming interfere in any way?
You know, I don't know, Jeff, you sent me the link. I opened it up and I honestly haven't had time to look at the schedule yet. So if there is going to be, I doubt there'll be a conflict, but if there is, we'll try to figure out a workaround. But
Okay.
I just haven't had time to
Okay,
look at it yet.
all right.
All right, thank you. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn the regular city commission meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Nobody wants to keep going? All right, thank you. Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Stay
Thank
safe.
you, everyone.